SuperHouse, the podcast that Batman fans are raving about. Bob Kane would surely give them a solid 10 plus.
Welcome to SuperHouse. Once again, we are the Batman podcast you deserve and the one that you need right now. I am Ben Wan, the man who knows too much about Batman.
I'm Wolfie. I've been gone a little while, but I'm back. Oh, that's right.
Indeed.
AJB over here, Thunderwolf, has been speaking in tongues as of late. I meant to translate of sorts. He's saying he really hopes that you pay attention to what's going on with the Dolphins lately. And what was it? Not the football team, the Miami Dolphins, but the actual Dolphins. He's speaking out in a cause that will give Dolphins artificial thumbs. So they have a fighting chance and equal right in the oceans of America.
All right, thanks. Yes, and everybody.
Glad we got that message out. I'm hot.
And we are in part 2 of The Dark Knight.
Yes.
Comics versus movies.
No, this isn't the Dolphin podcast.
Come on, man.
The Dolphin
I had the
Knight
whole Dolphin thing
podcast.
planned out. I studied. I researched dolphins.
I beat Echo the Dolphin on Sega CD. Okay.
Take
Too
that,
artsy
Dolphin.
for me.
So last time we ended with movie and comic. It was just Andrew and me, and we
I've been
tied with movie versus comic. Movie is at 4, comic is at 4.
Unprecedented event.
So Wolfie once again will be doing our score keeping, just like he did in Batman Begins.
Apologies if you've been keeping up with this. I said I was going to do it, but Wolfie offered to do this today, pretty much. Or I told him, I don't know.
By offered, he means assigned by
we
gunpoint.
assigned it, yes.
But that's fine.
By batarang.
Not
By
the first
batarang.
gun in my
Yes.
face.
It was a grappling gun, come on. But anyway, we have, as usual, or like what we did before, we're going to do a few shout-outs to some of our social media followers. First off, Mitch the One Soul, not Mitch 11 Soul, like I said last time. It's Mitch the One Soul, so sorry, Mitch, for that.
Nice.
Johnny Lucian _D, Maxim1402, Rad, and Subtract1.
That's my brother, actually.
Genius.
Taylor.
Shout out, dog. What up?
That's Taylor.
Genius.billionaire.playboy.
That's a SCAD friend. What's up, man?
Yeah, Daniel Crozier.
That's my boy.
Bender Crosby 1, as well as Figure Bender. Spider Ian.
Bender Crosby's also a friend of ours. He is our senior Power Rangers correspondent,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah. Thanks for the
and
thumbs,
they-
y'all.
Braxis, the.animated.batman, DC_animated_universe, and John K. Reagan, aka Shadowverse ENT. We're our friends with us, the podcast, and he is currently promoting his Kickstarter for his movie I'll Be Damned. That URL is not up yet, but
nice.
In terms of our recording, but you can check him out at Shadowverse ENT on Twitter, or John K. Reagan, spelled Regan, on Instagram.
Nice.
All right,
to
cool.
find that out.
Thank
you.
you.
Say Spadarian? That's also.
I thought it was Spider Ian, but okay.
That's our boy Ian.
I say Spadarian.
Spidarian, yes.
Yeah, that's,
We know
that's
that guy.
Ian, in
What-
New York.
One time he told me he had some insider trading secrets that he would tell me because he thought I was a nice guy. I never got those secrets from him, but I didn't believe him. Good guy. Good guy, though.
Good move, man. You made the move,
Ian.
Ian. You made the move.
He keeps those things close to the chest.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really appreciate that, but
Okay. Speaking of finances and being good at calculation, we left off with Batman going after Mr. Lau.
I'm very good at calculation.
Yes. Which also, funny enough, made people think that was an Easter egg and Mr. Lau is going to become the calculator in the comics, but I don't think that was intended at all.
huge disappointment.
Which would have been amazing to see him in the calculator outfit, literally as a human calculator.
Nolan had definitely never heard of that character. Goyer may have read it once.
But yeah, Mr. Lau was not meant to be the calculator, but Bruce does cancel a deal with Lau before they go to Hong Kong, and that's similar to how in The Long Halloween he was canceling dealings with the Gotham Bank with Richard Daniel, as well as other times where he has deliberately, quote-unquote, been in negotiations with business deals with sort of sketchy businessmen who are involved with mob stuff, just so that Bruce can get a little closer to finding out information on that. So there is some precedent for the comics on that. So
All right.
in order to go to Hong Kong, Bruce decides to take out the entire Russian ballet troupe out into the ocean so that nobody is suspicious about him mysteriously leaving Gotham. And once he's on that boat, he then mysteriously leaves the boat in the middle of it onto a plane in order to get to Hong Kong. And during this time, we have Michael J. White's final scene in
Gamble.
The Dark Knight as Gamble. Now, here's what's interesting is that Michael J. White has implied that there were other scenes with him in it that were supposed to take place after that scene.
I think every character in this movie had like 18 more sequences.
He said, quote,
the Bane also. Well, that was the next one, but yeah. That's Nolan's style.
Enough
He
from
was-
the clown.
He said it was the kind of thing where they had deeper intentions for Gamble. It was a character who was written for future use, I think. There were other plans to do stuff with that character and some things that were cut out.
He's like, actually, Gamble was going to be Batman.
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be Bruce Wayne the whole time.
I'm a fan, Michael J. White, but I know your game.
He says, I think that people can tell by the strange cut that I never shot a death scene. The character wasn't supposed to be gone. That is something that happened in editing later.
I could see that.
I wanted to stay around a little bit longer, Nolan. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also talked about Heath Ledger and sort of the misconception that Heath was, quote-unquote, too in character because of his method acting, and that's what led him to his death, when in reality it was just because of an accident. So Michael J. White commented, it has always, quote, it has always upset me that he was put in this category of being a drug-addled, irresponsible type of actor. That gets me aggravated. It upsets me that he gets put in that category, like he was a method actor who inhibited this darkness and that consumed him, when that couldn't be further from the truth. When the director would say cut, he would go back to his easygoing, very affable type of guy.
Okay.
He was skateboarding, folks, for Christ's sake.
Well, that's photoshopped.
Is it?
I think so.
When he's jumping over Batman.
He wasn't doing that tray flip? He wasn't doing those Rodney Mullen spinny
We'll,
things?
Tony
we'll
Hawk,
show
Tony
that
Hawk
to you
was
guys.
popular at the time, so.
So
That's okay.
he said, quote, even when there was a day player or people in shorter roles, naturally they tend to give him his privacy and space, but Heath would be the one initiating the conversation. He was just that type of guy. And
I don't think he was on a murderous rampage
Yeah.
the whole time in between takes.
Like
He
Jared
also-
Leto.
I mean?
yeah, it's like he didn't see the need to send used condoms to Christian Bale and company because he knew that he could just act.
Yeah.
He could just act.
It's like-
the
it's
director
like-
just says, "Cut."
Ooh, Ben 1, Leto 0. Yo, I gotta get out of here.
Shots fired.
But he did say that Heath would even show up in full makeup on days when he wasn't shooting anything on camera, just because he knew that would help other actors get into character from
He's
seeing
like,
him off
Oh,
screen.
that's why he did that.
Scaring people from around the corner.
Yeah, but if there was like shots where they're just like, hey, we need some pickups of Gamble's shots in the mob scene,
I'll do
Heath
it.
Ledger would just sit there on off screen so that he would have somebody to address it to, even though he wasn't even seen at all. But he would sit through all the makeup and the scars and stuff just for that, just so that Michael J. White could give a better performance.
All right.
Interesting.
So that was cool. And Michael J. White also commented on what we brought up last time, where, quote, there was this timber he would get. It reminds me of Tom Waits. It's a darker
Well,
tone.
yes. We put that in the last episode.
I
by
like
the way.
that, even if it's not true somehow, I like that comparison has been drawn to that interview with Tom Waits and everything.
It's real close.
Yeah.
I really feel
It's-
like he.
And if anything, that's like nice deep cut, Heath. That's like some hipster cred. He's just
Yeah.
try and dig that one out of the thing.
But the thing is,
Pitchfork found it.
2008 YouTube was nothing like today's YouTube.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he was expecting people to find that so quickly. I feel like just a year after.
Well, that's the nature of the internet.
Nature of the internet.
Oh, yeah. It's alive.
It's probably some fan of music was like just going to the backlog.
I've seen
of
that interview
interviews.
before.
Yeah. and
Wasn't it
was
an
just like that.
Australian interview too?
It sounded like
It's
it,
something
yeah.
that he would have watched, that he would have
Probably.
known
that's
about.
interesting.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
plot
yeah.
thickens.
Yeah.
When he was young, and he's just like, oh, that's an amazing voice. At some
Yeah,
point, I'm going to
yeah.
use that.
That would be
Stranger.
That warms my heart thinking that could possibly be true. Actually,
Yeah, it could.
Good on you, Heath.
Unfortunately, we won't know. But Tom Waits would end up... I don't know if they shared a scene together, but Tom Waits was the devil in the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, which was the final Heath Ledger movie.
Right.
So
I
don't know
never
if they
saw that.
I don't know if I did, but I don't remember if they had scenes together. They might have. They might have, but I'm sure that if that was true, then that would have been really cool for Heath, I imagine.
Side tangent. Was that movie any good?
It was kind of a mess, but I mean, when one of your main characters
Straight up
isn't
guys.
around, and you have to do pickups with 3 other different actors in the role, you do the best that you can.
Right. Yeah.
Terry Gilliam just does not have great luck when it comes to that, or
seems like-
Don Quixote.
Right.
Yeah, and he had a run of films there that were just kind of like subpar for even his standard of quality, like Brothers Grimm and I don't know. They got
I forgot
fan
about
favorites,
Brothers Grimm. Oh my god.
but he was
Damon
floundering there
and
for a
Heath
bit.
Ledger,
So that just was that guy's kind of unlucky, but he keeps going.
He does, yeah. So good for him. But that does bring us to the Hong Kong sequence. So Batman is going out of legal jurisdiction. I think this is the first time we've seen on film of Batman going outside of Gotham, outside of America.
That's true. That's
Interesting.
I
Batman in
forgot about
Japan.
that.
That's
Yeah.
tight.
Yeah, so he would go to other countries, and
China.
then Dennis Hong Kong, man. We don't all look the same.
I deserve that.
The Dennis O'Neil, Neil Adams run had him going to other countries to fight Ra's al Ghul and stuff. And then, as I said in the Batman Begins deep dive, that he was gifted the Batboat by Scotland Yard. So at one point, he did go to London on a case. So
this is also the
there's
sequence in which Morgan Freeman, or leading up to this, Morgan Freeman and Lau have what's known as rich guy humor, where they're talking about, what does he say, like, you just wasted it on purpose?
Well,
or-
Mr. Wayne didn't want to be deliberately wasting your time.
Yes.
Mr. Lau was like, no, just accidentally wasting it.
Yeah, I feel like I want to drink an Earl Grey tea.
I wish I was the waiter right there. I'd have just been like, all right, that's it. I quit. You guys are assholes.
Just fly you out and do this. But I mean, it's all under the pretense of Lucius planting that cell phone so that Batman can, I guess, see the inside of the building.
It's just such a Nolan touch. I feel like there's something. It's funny, like I sort of get it, but that the humor is I don't know what that was. Did you?
There's a weird element. Honestly, the funniest parts of the Dark Knight, unsurprisingly, but to me, the funniest parts of Dark Knight come from Heath Ledger. They come from the Joker and just the mix of laughter and horror. But then there's other attempts at humor, and we'll get to those later, where I'm just like, I don't know if that really worked. Like during the car chase scene where the guy's like, that doesn't look good, and then the helicopter was like, that really doesn't look good. I'm just like, this
really
doesn't
not
need
good.
to be in there. Like
It's the same as in Batman Begins. Sorry to cut you off. But
Yeah, no, it's true.
When the train is going, it's gonna blow.
It's gonna blow.
And then like 10 seconds later, it's still gonna blow.
Yeah, I know.
That's Nolan being like, this is my Hollywood blockbuster dialogue.
Yeah,
I love it.
You don't need
Not
to do
good.
that.
Yeah.
But there's a clear influence of James Bond in this, obviously, with
yeah.
Q and Morgan Freeman, but also in the Hong Kong sequence, not just in the fact that he goes to a different country, but the Skyhook sequence. That's what they call when Batman
CIA.
attaches himself, in terms of it's just like he asks Morgan Freeman's like, how do I get back onto a plane? And Freeman's like, well, I suggest you just call a travel agent. And he's like, how do I get onto it without it landing?
Oh yeah, the Skyhook, which is actually
Skyhook.
real, right?
It's
a
not only
CIA
real,
thing.
but it was also likely introduced to Nolan in the James Bond movie Thunderball.
Okay, yeah.
Because James
Okay.
Bond uses that at the very last scene to get out of the water with him and Domino,
Nice.
thanks to his CIA agent friend Felix Leiter.
That's cool. He's kind of like painting his Batman in the same universe as Bond in some
Kinda,
ways.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
interesting. They used it in
Right,
the
So
60s.
Felix bails out Bond in that instance, and Felix Leiter, of course, would later be played by Jeffrey Wright, who is now going to be Commissioner Gordon. So there's some connections there for you.
Wait, Jeffrey Wright's in Dark Knight?
You're thinking of Jeffrey
No,
Rush
he's going to
right
be
now.
Jeffrey Wright is going to be in the Batman.
Well, I know
as
that.
Gordon.
I know that part. Yeah.
No. I'm saying
Sorry.
Felix Leiter is the CIA agent who bails out James Bond through Skyhook in Thunderball.
Oh, I see. And then Jeffrey
gotcha.
Wright was going to play him in Bond?
No, Jeffrey Wright plays him in Bond.
Okay,
yeah,
then he's gonna
already
play
played him in Casino Royale and
Gordon.
Quantum Solace and the upcoming No Time to Die.
I forgot that he has been in a lot of Bond movies.
He's in 3 Bond movies.
I forgot about that entirely.
Yeah,
I like Jeffrey Wright.
he was also co-villains with Christian Bale in Shaft.
Oh.
I did not know that either.
So
not know that.
interesting cuts there. On our Instagram, I put a meme where it was the shot of both Christian Bale and Jeffrey Wright in jail in Shaft, with Jeffrey Wright saying, "I never said thank you," and Christian Bale saying, "And you never have to," on there. So some people got it. But Batman does take Lau back to America, and he leaves him tied up outside the police station with a note for Gordon. And that's kind of the classic way that Batman used to leave criminals off, he would drop them off on the police station doorstep with a note attached to them. So
Oh, that's cool.
that is a nice.
This guy's mean.
Yeah, this is a nice little reference to that, and they did that in the serial too.
The bat has no jurisdiction.
Yeah.
find
So Lau basically helps rat out the rest of the mob over here, and this is what I mean by a lot of the cheesy humor was the part where the judge is just like, "What do you all plead?" And the entire courtroom is like, all the mob bosses are for whatever reason in the same courtroom and just yelling at the person. The stenographer's like, "I don't know what to do." I'm like,
That sort of hit for me.
yeah,
It's
I'm just
not
like,
great,
it just
Yeah.
feels weird for the rest of the stuff.
but yeah.
So, but
It's to keep the girlfriends interested.
things do
A nice chuckle every now and again.
Nolan's great at a great deal number of things, but humor is just not one
He's
of
not going to direct a
Interstellar,
comedy.
The Prestige.
Inception.
He's not a humorous guy. He's a deep theme guy.
Yeah,
That's an
yeah.
interesting take.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true though. It's true. But obviously the tone quickly shifts because after the mob sequence, we have Harvey Dent talking to the mayor, and the mayor looks outside, and in probably one of the best scare moments that I remember in the theater, the body of a fake Batman, hits the window.
Oh, I love
Remember
that,
that?
dude. Loved it. God, this theater went fucking nuts
Yeah.
too.
So that was amazing. Just that switch into just like, guess what?
Yeah.
Joker is still in this movie, just in case you forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good.
The image of a dead Batman imposter hanging by his neck is not. This is not the first time we've seen that. There's been a lot of times where, especially in the 70s or so, they use the image of like Batman might be dead, and it turns out to be another guy in a Batman suit.
Right.
But that was first used in Night of the Reaper, also by Dennis O'Neil and Neil Adams. But since that was highly influential on David Goyer, it's likely that's where it comes from. As well as another arc called The Many Deaths of Batman. In 1989, that had one of Batman's mentors from our training episode killing bunch of the other mentors, and he dressed them up in the bat suit as he left their bodies around town. And even the headline, I mean, it's likely it doesn't come from the comic because the headline's kind of obvious, but a headline saying Batman dead appears in both that comic and in The Dark Knight at some point. But Bruce later hears about this when he's in his penthouse apartment, and Joker sends that video, which was another amazing moment.
Yeah, so in this video, when he says, "Look at me,"
Yeah.
it's metal as fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
it's chilling. Yeah.
It was
he
great.
It's a heavy metal growl, essentially.
People are gonna die.
People
Yeah.
will die.
People will die.
The way he goes, yeah, the really Tom Waitsy voice to this heavy metal growl kind of voice was. I thought that was really cool, you know.
Yeah.
And that
it's
guy
almost
looked
like
at
a
him.
bipolar kind of thing, which is great.
Yeah.
That guy was sure to look at him right after.
Yeah. That unpredictable nature, but it is.
He shot that himself too, right?
I think so. Any of the videos is shot by him.
Yeah, it's shot by Ledger.
Which makes sense because like he's the one playing Joker. So
Yeah.
Joker announcing his crimes before he makes them happen, almost in like a challenging way to the police and to Batman, dates all the way back to his very first story. In his first appearance, he would announce
Love
on the
that.
radio waves like, "Tonight, Henry Claridge will die, and there's nothing you can do about it."
That's cool.
And
That's
then
creepy.
The police would like show up at Henry Claridge's house and be like, "We're here to protect you," and then he still gets to him anyway, which is exactly what happens in the movie.
I already killed him.
with the judge and the commissioner. He's just like, "I killed
I
him
said
already."
3 p.m. and I showed up at noon.
The joke's on you.
That is his punchline, though. Pretty much like it turned out like he already injected him with some sort of poison that would kick in at that time. So like no matter what police protection the guy had, the guy was already destined to die at that time anyway.
I hope they never catch that guy.
The Joker?
Yeah.
He gets caught at the end of this. Spoiler alert, but
Oh, that's right.
You've seen this, right?
shit. So afterwards, we go into the party for Harvey Dent, set at Bruce's penthouse apartment or penthouse, suite, and that's where Bruce says the line, "I believe in Harvey Dent," and that's apparently Harvey's campaign slogan. But it's also a line that's said a lot in The Long Halloween
I totally read a long time ago, guys.
last week.
When I was like 10, I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
I helped write it.
But yeah, The Long Halloween does have not "I believe in Harvey Dent" as a campaign slogan, but just something that a lot of the characters say throughout, or "I believe in Gotham City," or "I believe in this or that" throughout the whole. It's a recurring line that happens, and they sort of adapted it into being Harvey's slogan here. The fundraiser setup also is another thing that ties into Dark Detective, which is what we talked about in the last episode. So Wolfie wasn't here for that, but Steve Englehart who's the guy who wrote the Laughing Fish story from a long time ago. He wrote something called Dark Detective in 2005 that was supposed to be a sequel to that, and he claims that The Dark Knight cribbed Dark Detective in certain elements. And one of those things is there was a character named Evan Gregory who's like this really promising politician to help clean stuff up, and he's this square-jawed blonde dude who looks a lot like Aaron Eckhart, and his character is dating Batman's ex.
Oh yeah.
So that whole love triangle aspect is there in that, and in both versions there's like some sort of party fundraiser that Joker crashes, and also in both versions Bruce has like a heart-to-heart with his ex.
Thing writes itself.
Time. So it does write itself. However, I do want to rant about one thing.
Also, the entire Laughing Fish subplot that was cut out that Nolan filmed entirely.
Oh, yes, of course.
Really? Yeah.
Oh man,
I mean,
that'd
dude,
be great.
Nolan's got an insane shooting ratio,
Nolan
man.
really wants to have.
So there's a whole other Batman movie here, probably.
There's a lot left on the cutting room
Oh
floor, man.
shit!
Too bad he doesn't believe in
Release
deleted
the
scenes.
Nolan cut. Release the funny bits and the outtakes.
No Jokerfish. I object. So this is obviously. Yeah, there was no Jokerfish in it. But here's what's funny is that Englehart claims
That would have really made that movie.
Exactly. Englehart claims that The Dark Knight ripped off his scene.
Yeah, okay.
And his claim during it is that in my comic, Bruce and Silver St. Cloud are dancing and she's in a mask, and then the Joker crashes the party. And in the movie, Bruce Wayne is dancing with masked Selena Kyle, and Joker crashes the party. And I'm like, Selena Kyle's not in this movie. Selena Kyle's in the third movie.
Right.
And I looked into the comic. He has on his website, and we'll show this to you, he has an image of Bruce and Silver St. Cloud made to look like they're dancing. I looked in the comic. They're not dancing. He photoshopped that image to make them look like they were dancing, so that it would look closer to Christian Bale dancing with Anne Hathaway in The Dark Knight.
Who did this?
Rises. Steve Englehart, the guy who wrote Dark Detective and created the whole Laughing Fish storyline.
It's almost as if he doesn't own these characters at all. Anyway.
So I'm like, this really kills your credibility, man. I'm like, yes, I love your old comics and everything, but like, dude, this doesn't help your case at all if I can easily poke holes through it. And like, sure, there's that love triangle thing, but as I said in the previous episode, I'm just like, I didn't have to read Dark Detective to predict that Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne could have known each other through Rachel Dawes, and that you could have created a love triangle, considering that Rachel Dawes is working in the DA's office and was like Bruce's like old flame and everything. It just makes sense to do that as opposed to adding yet another character of Gilda Dent from the comics on top of that. Just have them be the same character. You don't have to read Dark Detective for that. So
I'm not gonna.
Debunked, basically. Sorry, Steve Englehart.
Myth
Love your
busted.
work, but myth busted on that shit. But there is something I want to talk about. So we can finally do a comics versus movie type of thing. But Bruce brings up to Rachel in their conversation outside. He's like, "I'm looking for the day where Gotham doesn't need a Batman.
Okay, yeah.
Gotham needs a hero with a face." So
he's already thinking about his way out.
Yeah. So Bruce has thought of Batman as being a short-term thing. As established in this movie, like that he just wants to inspire people to rise up, the legitimate people, and then eventually Batman isn't needed because people like Harvey Dent are around. This is very different
It's
from
like the
comics.
showrunner from Watchmen.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm just gonna do my thing, and then it's just gonna be temporary.
Pick up the mantle.
In the comics, there's no indication of that at all. It seems like he made that vow that he was gonna do it for the rest of life, and he wanted it to be a lifetime thing.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a very big difference in goals between the Christian Bale Batman and the comic book Batman. So let's put it up to a vote. This is our first thing for this episode. Bruce seeing Batman as a temporary thing to pass down, or Batman being a lifelong thing.
I thought it was stupid that he was, not that it was so stupid, but I would have preferred that he had been like a commitment thing. That they introduced that, I was like, I don't know, he's giving it up. I guess it's a trilogy and they don't see it coming out any other way. I could see that realistically.
I don't think they knew that was going to be a trilogy, though, because they always keep claiming that like we took it one movie at a time and everything.
Well, regardless of whether or not they did, I thought it was kind of I think he's Batman.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton is still Batman.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton would never pass the mantle.
He would just
become the Vulture.
Use a gun on his car again or something.
I prefer the lifelong Batman.
Cool. All right,
I'm
Andrew.
gonna take this up for this. All right, I can't do it. Never mind. I'm trying to fuck with my mic. Okay, I have a preference for my Batman to have a lifelong vendetta devoted to punching criminals in the face.
Yes,
Because there's lots of them.
This whole I'm not gonna do it for a while. It's weak.
Weak.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Comics.
I think it's pretty easy where I'm going to fall into this. As somebody who like grew up with the character and just like he made this vow that he will always do this.
I'm done.
I mean, it wasn't. You can read Batman Begins either way in terms of like
I've made this
in terms of
suit
whether or
in
not it was
several different
established.
sizes.
Yeah. Tony Stark made like 90 suits.
Yeah,
This guy's like,
I'm done. Like it's.
I'm sure we can order another one from China.
I mean, I like the. It seemed like the arc in this movie until Dark Knight Rises came out. It seemed like the arc of this movie was him thinking like this is going to be temporary, and then Harvey Dent makes that fall both figuratively and literally, and then
Right.
he's just like, okay, I guess I have to be the hero for Gotham from now on. And then you go to the Dark Knight Rises, and he's just like, never mind, I quit
Yeah,
for 8 years.
this chick's much hotter than Rachel.
So
She can ride a motorcycle.
I thought it was going to be. I thought the arc of the Dark Knight, the way I read it was
The Arc Knight.
The Arc Knight was that he went from thinking, "Oh, this is temporary," to like, "I'm now going to be Batman forever." Not to crib from the Batman Forever
Yeah.
deleted subplot, but that's what I thought it was going to be. And
Right.
instead, it's like, "No, I'm just gonna drive home and nurse my leg for 8 years, and that's it." So
I've given up.
I've given up.
They should have done a balls out fourth one.
Like, in terms of a sequel to Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah,
or
they should have did a sequel to Dark Knight Rises with Killer Croc or somebody. Just Mad Hatter, and it'd have been all cyberpunk.
Basically,
or something.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt dies because he didn't have any training. And Bruce Wayne's like, shit.
Now that's realistic.
They Skype from Italy, man. Don't worry.
What do I do right now? I can't hear you. You're breaking up.
There's
do
a
you
big
throw a punch?
screen in the Batcave. They Skype with that screen. It's all good.
Is this
man.
mask bullet?
Blake's like, dude, you learn how to fight 600 men from this ancient society of ninjas. I just got police academy training,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't do. You didn't give me a gun. Like, I don't know what to do.
You'll be fine.
So is that one for the comics?
That's definitely
on
one
this?
for the comics. I don't think there's anybody who prefers the Nolan version at this point. Also, another moment that I love. A lot of the moments that I love from Dark Knight are actually the moments that people don't talk about that much. And for this one, it's the part where the party he's stepping away from the party and just automatically dumps the champagne over the balcony. It's a very small
yeah. I
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
but it's just like I'll take it for the show of it, but Bruce actually doesn't drink in the comics, or there's comics where they say like he pretends it's champagne, but Alfred actually poured ginger ale or something in there.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Or it's just like it's literally just club soda in there. It's not
Right.
actually like vodka soda or anything. So I like that moment myself.
That was a nice touch.
That was definitely. Again, in 2008, I didn't know as much about Batman as I do now, and that was a moment where I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess he doesn't drink."
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about it.
It's
but
a nice little
yeah,
character bit.
yeah.
Blocking in the detail, using blocking to what am I trying to say? Using blocking to divulge details about your character is always awesome.
What about the block? What are you talking about blocking in this
like
situation?
just his stage movement, as you would call it, like his stage direction or whatever,
When he just goes
to
like
throw the
that?
thing over.
Yeah.
It's just a small detail. It's subtle.
Oh, yeah.
Little
Yeah.
things like that are
Yeah.
telling of character. For my money, are like so choice. Things you can pick up much later
Yeah,
Indeed.
absolutely, yeah.
if it doesn't suck.
Yeah. So it didn't suck. It didn't suck.
Probably all kinds of details I haven't seen
It
in
totally doesn't suck.
BVS.
Let's see. And then Commissioner Loeb, as we covered before, he gets killed Henry Claridge style, as I said, in which case, like, he's in danger, but the danger was already planted inside the room. Nobody's coming to kill him. He's already dead because of the fact that Joker figured that he was going to drink from that, whatever the hell he was pouring out. I forgot what it was, but
Champagne, I think.
Loeb is dead. In the comics, Loeb was killed by the Hangman in Dark Victory. So definitely read that
Okay.
after Long Halloween. But obviously in the movie, Joker kills him. But either way, he dead. So, but let's see. I do another detail I really like. Even though I'm not a fan at all of Christian Bale's Batman voice, because I feel like it kind of turned into a parody.
What could you hate about this voice?
What are you talking about?
I do like
was
that.
created by any filmmaker on the
Can I
face
have
of the
some
planet.
tea?
I do like the touch where Bruce chokeholds Harvey, and Rachel's like, "What are you doing?" And Bruce is already in Batman mode, and he's just like, "They're coming for him." Like
Okay.
he actually says that in the Batman voice. He doesn't say it in the Bruce Wayne voice, even though he's not wearing it. And I'm like, that's cool. That reminds me of the
Interesting.
animated series.
I have to catch
Right,
that
right,
shit.
right.
Yeah, but
He's
it's
morphing into
really
Batman?
Small. Yeah, it's a really small moment, but at that point, he's already in Batman mode.
The ears
That's
are growing
cool.
out from under his hair.
Right, because right afterwards,
wanna back up.
he's walking through.
My headbutts are brutal.
Let's get dangerous.
That's Darkwing Duck from the 90s.
Now that's a live action
That's
movie
a
we
reboot coming,
need.
making it happen. Waiting to
Oh,
happen.
baby.
Disney Plus. Here we go.
Oh, baby.
But yeah, like right afterwards, Bruce beats up that thug and dismantles. That's another cool moment I love, where he dismantles the gun.
Oh,
With the
yeah.
guy points
yeah.
his
Not
gun.
as easy as it looks.
Not as easy as it looks. A little lax in the secret identity thing, but like I don't know if the guy's gonna remember that. Depends on how hard he hit him.
But who needs
On
pinky
that.
toes?
Pinky toes.
What?
He takes apart a gun and goes off, and your toes
Oh,
are gone.
okay, yeah. Your
Yes.
joke's funny when you explain it, man.
They're a lot funnier when you're keeping up.
And then we get to the party where Joker arrives, and this is the moment that Andrew and I talked about, where Michael Caine claims that he was so shocked by Ledger's entrance that he forgot his lines. Now I read the
Yeah.
script and they didn't have any lines for Alfred, but then maybe they got it
My word.
retroactively.
On the day. They did, man.
But there is a part where
get outta
Joker
here.
corners an old man, because the old man's like, "We're not intimidated by thugs."
Oh, yeah.
And Joker's like, "You remind me of my father." And that guy is Senator Patrick Leahy.
Yes,
This
I've heard
is-
about this, yeah.
This is his fourth
Republican.
Batman cameo. He's a Democrat. This is his fourth Batman cameo. He showed up apparently in Batman Forever, though I don't know where. He is in Batman and Robin as one of the guys who's like bidding on Poison Ivy. He did a voice in Batman the Animated Series, and then he was in this. He also shows up in The Dark Knight Rises as part of the Wayne board, and he's a senator who gets blown up in Batman vs. Superman.
Oh,
But
shit. Yeah.
Get over it, nerd.
he's in a lot of it because so that's the end of Patrick Leahy. But like, he's a huge Batman fan,
You
and
don't say.
yeah, obviously in showing up in this. So it's
Put
kind
me
of
in your
cool that
movie.
he got to be in this. But yeah, that's a nice little Easter egg that got to be a part of this. And then this becomes the first face-to-face encounter between Batman and Joker in the movie and in this continuity, which ends with him having to leap out the window and save Rachel as the Joker
scene.
makes his
Poor
escape.
choice of words.
Yes,
So
very poor
good.
choice of words. Yeah, so
Such a great line.
this is kind of reflects a lot of the other versions of the comics. In the very first appearance of Joker, Batman sort of failed to stop Joker from killing another guy, and so Joker and Batman had a fight, and Joker knocked Batman off a bridge and
Okay.
into the river. So Batman fell off somewhere. Similar thing with The Man Who Laughs, which is Ed Brubaker's update of it, where he tries to prevent the death of some rich guy, and he fails, and he and Joker have a fight, but Joker gets away. Here's another question I have for you guys: how the hell did Batman and Rachel survive that fall? Because it's
Oh, man.
been
Memory cloth.
12 years and I still don't get it. I'm like,
Lucius Fox explains it in the first movie.
Memory cloth.
yeah, but he doesn't carry her or anything. They're literally just falling and they land on a taxi cab and they're fine. And I'm like, wait a
glides you.
second.
You know, this has been my theory for
It
years.
glides you.
So
Yeah.
Nolan Goyer, they do all this research with Skyhook and all this
Yeah.
bullshit. Like
Yeah.
it's based reality. So they have all these references. So they probably found the 3 cases in fucking human history where somebody survived that fall because of a car.
Yeah.
You know,
It was a very
and it's-
empty old car. You know how they just
There's
kind
a
of
guy in it.
catch you.
There was a
and
guy in the
There's
car.
a
crumple.
shot of the guy in it, and when they land on the
Well,
car.
he softened the blow. That's obviously.
And then, so that happens. They survive it, and then we have this weird cut where we just go away from it, and we have no idea what happens with the Joker
Right.
and the people at the party. But apparently, there was going to be a scene in there. So this is
Okay.
one of the known deleted scenes with Heath Ledger.
Oh shit! So what is this again?
This is right after Batman catches Rachel, or doesn't he lands
Rachel!
on the car with Rachel,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they somehow survive. And then the next scene is Joker and his thugs having apparently left the party because they couldn't find Harvey Dent. And I
Okay.
guess they left everybody alive at the party after he threw Rachel out. And the driver's like, "What do we do about Dent?" And the Joker says, "I'm a man of my word." As in, like, I'm going to go after him again.
Right.
So there was footage seen of Heath
Hmm.
Ledger going into a car. You know, the paparazzi footage that we see all the time with, like, the Batman set videos of and all that stuff.
Sort of.
There was sort of like that in The Dark Knight.
Okay, yeah.
At the
Well,
time.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because we were all about this movie and wanted to see footage of Heath Ledger, and I remember distinctly that people were just like, "Oh, there's this footage of him like they're shooting something.
Getting
There's a
into a
scene
car.
of Joker in a car."
Okay.
Which didn't make it into the movie because I don't remember a single scene with him inside a car.
Except
in
for
the whole
doing
time.
the dog thing out of the window.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it wasn't a police car.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a promotional image of him in the back seat somewhere.
Wasn't there like a
released.
purple car? No, I'm making this up. Never mind.
You're making it.
Jokermobile?
Yeah, there was. I thought when you said that, I thought I saw like a Photoshop thing of like a lowrider behind Joker, but that might have been a Cholo meme that I caught.
I think it was a Cholo meme. So that's
Joker.
the main deleted scene of the Joker in there.
Call me Little Whispers.
Little whispers.
It's racist for you to laugh at that. Only I can make the joke.
Too bad.
There's a point at which white people can't laugh too much at a joke. At those kind of jokes, like
Those are the type of
you
jokes
can,
I tell.
You can do a little chuckle, but this is
go
my
too much.
experience. You can't laugh. You can't laugh too much. Then it's racist.
You poor
You
white
might call
people.
it a white disprivilege.
That's the flip side of the old
Lack of
coin.
privilege.
I feel
On that one.
On
Anyway.
the coin.
Yeah.
There we go.
not to get racial.
But yeah, so we have reached the part where there's a party and Batman has fought Joker for the first time. So when we get back from the break, we will cover what happens next now that Batman's encountered Joker for the first time. Stay tuned.
Hey everybody, it's Andrew. I just wanted to tell you about our friend Israel's retro gaming shop, RetroCo. If you go to retro-ko.com, you'll be able to see all of his retro gaming goodies. If you wanted to get that Sega Saturn hidden gem from back in the day, or if you wanted to get the Famicom disk system that you never got as a kid, or any other type of retro game that you were into, or import game, please go to retroco.com. That's retro-ko.com. And if you use the SuperHouse code Johnson's Ballsack, you'll be able to get a little bit of a discount at checkout. So please, once again, if you could just go to retroco.com. You can also go to facebook.com/retroco with no hyphen. That's RETROKO. You'll be able to find him on Facebook as well. If you were looking for that PlayStation import game that you never got, if you were looking for that Mega Drive game that you never got, or any other kind of retro game, any import game, it could even be European, Israel also curates bundles at RetroCo, and he'll curate that bundle just for you. So please, go check him out. If you put in the code Johnson's Ballsack at checkout, you'll receive a SuperHouse discount.
All right, and we're back. So we left off. Batman fights Joker for the first time, and this leads into a conversation between Bruce and Alfred, where Alfred does the whole some men just want to watch the whole world burn.
Oh, yeah.
Thing. Now that was used in the teaser trailer. I don't know if you guys remember the very first teaser for The Dark Knight. It was attached to the Simpsons movie of all movies.
Really?
It was literally.
Oh my God.
To be honest, it was a little bit of a letdown because it was literally just dialogue over a logo.
I remember, yeah.
And I was just like,
That's a Nolan thing. That's a
do
Nolan
know.
thing.
I
It's
get
the
it.
fire like stoking behind it or something.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, and you just see the logo.
That's
and
like Tenet this
Something like
year, just like a dude looking at a bullet hole.
should've-
That's
Tenet-
all,
Tenet
that's
was
all
at
it
least
is.
Still
You should have went to
some
the
footage.
IMAX preview, the Tenet IMAX preview.
But that
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
no.
teaser trailer at the
Right.
time, and I remember just like, okay, that the best part though was Alfred saying like, some men just want to watch the world burn.
And I'm like, yes.
Nolan's so good at these one-liners, or it's Nolan and Goyer, this combination, because people still quote that, and people still quote, jumping the gun here a little bit, but they still quote when Gotham is in ashes. You know, those lines from
You have my
Bane.
permission to die.
Dude, who writes fucking lines like that?
Jonathan Nolan and Christopher Nolan.
We're still
Yeah.
quoting it 10 years later.
Yeah.
Like Avatar didn't do this. Nobody's had that much, like the
That's-
hero we deserve. Nobody's had
Yeah,
that
that's true.
quite that much cultural impact.
And I think maybe they knocked it out of the park so good with stuff like that in the later DCEU movies, I just felt like, why aren't they even remotely creative enough to have such good lines?
They don't have. There
There was
any
like
lines
not
like
any
that.
standout lines in some of the later films.
Just in general. Yeah.
It's
You know, yeah.
what a literature degree from Oxford gets you.
read more than one
I did
book,
Look
I
this
always
up.
say.
He did not go to Oxford.
Oh,
he did
fuck.
he did have a literature degree. He does not go to Oxford.
Where'd he go?
like university college in London or something.
Fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know where I got that.
Because I'm just like, when did he go to Oxford? And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, he didn't go to Oxford.
God damn it.
Sorry, Andrew.
Good dialogue,
Thanks
though.
for double checking me on that one.
The Fast and Furious movies could take a note out of that book. Or read any book. Guys who
Any
write
book.
those
Read
movies.
any book.
It
Yeah.
would be benefit you.
But Alfred telling Bruce that he was hunting a man in Burma does hint at Alfred's background.
Right,
Now,
yeah.
The funny thing is we did a whole thing on Batman Begins, but I don't think we talked at all about Alfred.
Nice.
The
Yeah.
entire-
I'm here for
yeah.
this.
because we didn't really have any like movie versus comic thing. But Michael
Oh,
Caine
yeah,
said
yeah.
that even though he sounds like Michael Caine in the movies, he's just like he based his voice, and I think he meant like the way he talked, off of an old SAS sergeant that
Okay,
he had.
cool.
At a time, and this is kind of the first live-action adaptation of Alfred to even mention some sort of background of having
Michael
worked in the
Caine
government.
was in the service of some
I think
sort?
he was, yeah. It sounded like
Okay.
he was, or at least knew somebody who was in the service.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So this is the first time that we've heard that he has that background in there, which then influenced stuff like Beware the Batman, where he's like an ex-MI6 agent who helps train
Yeah.
Bruce, and Earth One by Jeff Johns and Gary Frank, and the Sean Pertwee version in Gotham, and
Right.
even hints of it from Jeremy Irons in Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
And I'm predicting probably Andy Serkis in the Batman.
Yeah, he's a little bit stout.
Yeah.
Like he could
Cool.
tussle.
So Michael Caine is technically the first one to kind of have that, lower class
On screen.
Cockney
huh?
Alfred type of thing.
right,
but,
right.
he being a spy dates back to Detective Comics number 501, where he was said to have been working in World War II and helped liberate the Holocaust survivors. He was liberating concentration camps. And Lucius Fox was in the service around the same time in that version.
Oh, okay.
So
All right.
they kind of
Did they have like
know
a
each other.
Schwarzenegger?
They should
What's
have.
his name? Meetup.
I was like, Lucius, you son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. Yeah.
And that's what they did.
Wow.
Alfred,
Your biceps are the size of a tangerine.
that's not that big.
It's pretty good for the service. For a British man. For limeys such as we.
Get
Alfred
to the chopper.
Alfred got together with a woman named Mademoiselle Marie over there, and they had a daughter named Julia. And so Julia Pennyworth, or Julia Remarque, as she's called in the comics, later had a sort of love triangle with Bruce and Vicky Vale. Her being into Bruce, though that might have been interesting if she was also into Vicky Vale. But that was not
Hey,
in the comics
you know.
at
Didn't
the
they
time.
have a show or a show in development about like Alfred
Yeah, it's on its second season.
Pennyworth?
Is it?
Yeah.
It's on its second
Pennyworth
season
is
now?
on his second season on Epix, and the actor Jack Bannon, I think his name is. When I first saw the trailers, I'm just like, oh, he's totally doing a Michael Caine impression. And then I saw his interview, I'm like, oh, he talks like that. He literally talks like
he's
Michael
from
Caine.
the same part of
My
England.
name is Alfred Pennyworth, by the
Yeah.
way. And I'm like, oh, all right,
Cool.
Michael Caine.
Michael
Not a
Caine.
lot of people know about
Which
that.
one's doing better, that or Picard?
Picard.
Picard's got to be.
Because people are talking.
People talk about
That's
Picard.
probably not a good comparison. I've only seen the one episode. I shouldn't say shit.
So, but Pennyworth does cover the time that he met Thomas Wayne, who Thomas Wayne is apparently a spy along with Martha Kane, and I'm like, that's weird, but I need to watch the rest of it. But Alfred's daughter does show up in Batwoman at one point, and apparently had a relationship with Bruce's cousin, Kate Kane,
shit.
Batwoman herself. So they did make her lesbian, or at least have had a relationship with Kate Kane in there. But Julia has not made it yet into the movies, but it's possible that this Alfred has that background. But that is Michael Caine's Alfred. Later on, Joker kills quote-unquote Harvey Dent, and by that he means an officer named Officer Harvey and Officer
Right.
Dent
Oh, yeah,
at the crime scene. So that was kind of clever, and that's where we get into an attempt at some detective work.
Yes,
though I do
ballistics or whatever.
I do have a rant about this, but yes. So there's a random bullet in a
I've got bullet pieces.
there's a random bullet in a wall, even though it doesn't seem like either guy was shot. And so he analyzes and he's like, I'm going to get fingerprints. And somehow he gets the shattered bullet and uses, his technology to put it back together to find the fingerprint.
Okay, here's
to
the
put it
thing,
on
too.
bug.
Sorry to cut you off, as always, Ben, but I watched this the first time. Maybe I'm an idiot, but I didn't know what the fuck was going on in this scene. Like, what is he doing?
No,
right
I can't blame you though, because he was just like, he put he loaded the gun in so he puts the bullet in, and there's a fingerprint of his thumb on there, right?
Yeah, this was so hard to follow at first.
And I'm like, that's not how guns work. You put the thing on the shell casing, and the bullet comes out of the casing,
Right.
which means
yeah.
your finger doesn't even hit whatever the hell hit the wall.
Right.
That's true.
That's true.
This is dumb.
Nobody knows how guns
my
work
God,
in
you're
this
like-
movie.
No, it's his calling card. He puts his one fingerprint on the top of each bullet.
Yeah, man. Ever thought about
And
that?
then he puts it in the casing, and then he
expecting the shattered pieces to be put back together. It's genius.
how would he know that he did that? I'm just like, I understand this is an attempt to do the detective work thing, but it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And it shows that nobody knows how guns work in this thing, right? Unless
Which
there's a different
good.
version.
If more
Guns
people
work
knew how they
different
work.
in Gotham.
Guns work differently in Gotham. I'm like, there's no showcasing. It literally just comes out.
The other problem with this too, from a script writing perspective, I think,
Yeah.
is that it's detective work, but it's so it's so secluded, it's so isolated to this one part of the movie,
Yeah.
where it just kind of feels like if it's a Batman story, and I mean this script's really good for the most part, but it's just like it should be more than just one fucking scene.
Yeah.
You got
Well,
Batman
also,
doing detective work for literally like 5 minutes of this 2-hour-long
And
movie.
punching his
Yeah.
way through the rest of it.
Yeah,
I think it's
Krav
more.
Maga.
Yeah, it's more rewarding
Casey
though.
fighting method.
Yeah, the
Anyway.
Casey fighting method. I think it's more rewarding though when it's like a Sherlock Holmes-ish thing where like the clues are in front of you and the audience gets a chance to put it together.
Right.
If it's like CSI shit where it's just like, oh, he's just using the computer to like find a fingerprint, it's not as exciting because you can't put anything together with that. It's just like you're just
Right.
watching a dude on a computer.
Right.
And now around this time, this is where the accountant, Mr. Reese, tries to blackmail Bruce Wayne, and Lucius Fox has a drop the mic moment where it's just like, you think that your employer goes out at night and beats criminals.
If I was Reese, I'd be like, yeah, I just told you that.
Yeah.
You think I'm playing,
your
motherfucker?
choice
Give me my
is to
paperback.
blackmail him.
I'm going to tell him right now.
I do like it addresses my issue with Batman Begins where I'm just like nobody recognizes the Tumblr, and now in this one like he did, so I'm like okay,
Pancaking
so you're
cop
hanging,
cars on 7
you're hanging a
o'clock
lantern
news.
on it, as they say. But then one thing I want to comment is some people say that Mr. Reese, because if you say it quickly it sounds like mystery.
Yeah, I remember this being a thing at
They
the time.
claim that he is Nolan's adaptation of the Riddler.
Totally, bro.
I was going to say that's Goyer's one bit that got into this movie. He's like, please,
call him
please,
Mr. Reese.
it's so clever.
Roger
please.
Rabbit, please.
And I'm just kind of like, if he is a version of Riddler, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else that makes, other than the fact that his name kind of sounds like mystery.
You like riddles, Mr. Fox?
Also, I think that's just, I think
How does
John,
give me $1 million sound?
There was a whole subplot of him cut out, bro. You don't even know, man.
Jonathan Nolan, I think, likes the name Reese, though, because Jonathan Nolan created Person of Interest, and Jim Caviezel's character in Person of Interest is named Reese. His name is Mr. Reese that
You
time.
want Reese's
It's
Pieces,
a very
brother?
different Mr. Reese, but it's Mr. Reese nonetheless. So I think he just likes that name. I don't think it has any reference whatsoever to Riddler. Also, I distinctly remember Anthony Michael Hall was cast in this movie, and nobody
Right.
knew who he was. Turns out he was just a reporter. But at first, some people
Kind of
were
a
just like,
disappointment.
he's totally going to be Robin. And it's just like, dude, he was a kid actor in The Breakfast Club. He's not a kid actor
Yeah.
now.
Whoever thought
Robin.
that, whoever's the person who was like, oh my God, I figured it out. Round of applause.
But someone else
You're a
thought
genius.
maybe he's the Riddler. And then I'm just
Right.
like, well, it's already crowded as fuck as it is, but how would they do the Riddler? And that's actually what led me into the idea that I pitched a while back of Riddler being a private detective who's kind of a rival to Bruce Wayne. So I do credit
Yeah, that'd be cool.
The Dark Knight in a weird roundabout way towards my idea of Riddler's origin because of this.
I thought it was cool that he was in the movie. Him and what's Julia Roberts' brother's name?
Eric Roberts.
I thought it was cool
Boss
that they were in the movie. I was like, oh, that's cool. This
Yeah,
it's like
there's other
you know.
people in this.
So I was like, oh, he's just a reporter. I was kind of hoping he would turn out to be one of the lunatics or something, but
Yeah,
because I like his Dead Zone was great.
yeah,
on-
yeah. So he could have been good
Yeah.
in any of those, but whatever. They only had
Mr.
so much
Reese.
room as it is. You got Maroni, you got all the mob, you got Joker, and you got Two-Face in this. So
Yeah, that's true.
you can only have so much. Once Bruce and Alfred identify the owner of the fingerprint, Bruce goes out and during the day, instead of being dressed up as Batman, he's just kind of disguised in that like motorcycle outfit type of thing with the helmet on, which is kind of inspired by Year One, because in Year One he goes off to help out Gordon in wearing that. And during this time, it's the funeral of Commissioner Loeb, and they're basically trying to help protect the mayor because the mayor is the one who's listed next. But the Joker disguises himself in there, and this goes into our next thing. In the comics, Joker's disguise is to put makeup on himself to make him look more flesh colored.
Right.
And in one sequence, he goes after a judge, I think, and he disguises himself as a police officer. Until you can tell by his smile and everything that's actually the Joker, and he kills him over there. The Heath Ledger Joker does a similar thing here, except instead of putting makeup on, he just takes it off.
Yeah.
So,
Show those gnarly scars.
now this kind of ties into, do you prefer a Joker who puts on makeup, or do you prefer a Joker who's already permanently white? But what do you prefer? The fact that he is permanently white and then puts on makeup to disguise himself, or one where all he has to do is just wash it off? There's something cool about the fact that he allows himself to become the Joker by putting on makeup, as opposed to him just naturally waking up every day as the Joker.
It's that's the threads of a clown, right? Like, that's what kind of imbues you with that essence of the trickster and all that kind of shit. I think for the purpose of this universe, the realism works out for the better with him taking the makeup off and actually having wounds that are a mystery to the audience.
Right.
And how easily he blends in with those other cops until that one moment where you're like, oh my God, that's the Joker. He's right there. And then having that makeup that he can kind of sit behind to like do all these like maniacal, soulless things to people.
Right.
I think works here. In the comics, it's fun. And Batman the Animated Series, like the acid bath and everything, like traditional stuff, like that's great.
Right.
But that's where you kind of, if you were to do something like that in these movies, it would be more of a stretch. Now, probably not so much because of Aquaman and Batman vs. Superman and Justice League. You could get away with that, which actually could be kind of cool, having a Joker that's acid bath.
That's what Leto's Joker is, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. I guess you're right. Yeah.
He's got the acid.
Wolfie already forgot
But for
about
the sake of the Dark Knight, I think it's better that he just puts this makeup on because of how like sloppily it looks and how creepy it makes him.
So you're going for a movie?
A movie, yeah.
All right. Andrew.
Sorry, long answer.
I like both. I do.
Always the diplomatic one.
Yeah. It depends on the tone, man. This is splitting hairs, really.
I know, but I have to have something for this competition.
Yeah.
This was the hardest one to
a good
figure
one, though,
out.
I think.
Yeah. It's a tough one. Yeah, it just depends on the overall story, but for this, it really works, so I'll just go for a movie just for conversation's sake.
All right, so the movie wins out on this.
Yeah.
My main issue, I agree that I like both, because it's just like, look, you're already in a world where he puts on makeup when he becomes the Joker, so obviously it's just going to be a matter of him taking it off. My main issue of him taking it off is because of his scars. I'm partially kind of just like, doesn't it get a little obvious, though, that, like, it's him?
Yeah.
I'm just
I'm
like,
some other guy.
When I look at it now, I'm just like,
not
Joker's
polite
been
stare.
broadcast all over the city with these scars and stuff, and is scarring people up. And now you got this guy, you're on the lookout for the Joker, and here he is in the police officer uniform with very visible scars right there. And nobody thinks, like, that guy kind of looks a little strange. I wonder where that comes from.
Do you think it is explained away from just Gotham PD being so corrupt anyway?
Cops aren't very smart to begin with.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, does the mob is not really working with Joker here, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not
I
yet.
mean, yeah, I never really understood this part of the script. It's
Yeah.
a little bit of a plot hole, I guess.
But I was just like, it's cool that we got to see him without the makeup on and in the police officer uniform, but because of the scar, if he didn't have the scarf thing, I would buy it a little better.
Yeah.
But because of the scars, and like now that I can watch the movie and I can spot Heath Ledger with the scar makeup in the background before he's about to take the shot at the mayor.
Right.
I'm kind of like, there he is. Like, why has nobody seen this?
I'll take this over Rachel and not dying on that fall. That could use some rewriting. I'm okay with.
Yeah. But it still goes to the movie because of I've been outvoted on this one.
Boom.
So once again, it's a tie. We're still tied, right?
God damn it.
Gordon is supposedly struck by Joker's bullet from trying to protect the mayor. But obviously he has faked his death, and this is kind of like the Long Halloween, where Harvey Dent is believed to have been killed in an explosion.
There was a funeral scene, right?
This is the funeral scene. It's the funeral for Commissioner Lowe.
Yeah, so this is also the scene where you find out that Gotham has a very large Scottish population. They're playing the bagpipes.
Everything. Yeah, Commissioner Loeb was Scottish.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Bill Finger
He liked Scotch. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Scotch. Yeah, there you go. That's it. It's
That
just
is
like
why.
they have a very big Scottish
What a
Irish
horrible interest.
population, very similar to that of New York City, guys.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Bruce Wayne was named after Robert the Bruce, supposedly, the Scottish hero. So.
Jeez,
Nice.
By Bill
that's
Finger,
cool.
yeah.
All right.
Deep cuts
That is
there.
cool.
I don't think that's a reference to it. I think it's just because cops, bagpipes at funeral makes sense.
No, I'm just poking fun. I'm poking fun.
They had him
obviously.
in.
It's just whenever guys like us watch this movie, we notice fucking everything about it
Yes.
for the most part.
Yeah.
So
Let's see. So yeah, there's the fake death thing is kind of referenced to Long Halloween. Personally, I never bought it that Gordon was actually dead because I'm just like, he's going to be the commissioner. There's also scenes from the trailer that haven't happened yet, like the part where he's just like, we've searched him, no pockets, no fingerprints, no matching things, nothing in his pockets but knives and lint. I'm just like, that scene hasn't happened yet. I don't buy this whatsoever.
Oh, yeah.
This is dumb.
that's right.
We got you son of a bitch. We got your money.
Yeah, everybody clapped at that scene, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm glad Gordon's back, but I saw this coming a mile away.
Yeah.
like
you all thought they were gonna kill him.
Yeah, but we do get to meet his wife Barbara. Like they were briefly seen in one glimpsing shot in Batman Begins, but we do get to meet his wife Barbara for real when she screams at Batman and his son James Jr. It's implied that he has a sister, and we do see the sister at the end when Two-Face holds everyone hostage, but her face is never seen, and she is never named. But presumably that is Barbara Gordon.
I would
the future
assume,
Batgirl,
yeah.
But because of Gordon's
Oracle.
death, quote unquote, Batman tracks down Maroni at the nightclub where we have a John Wick style fight before John Wick even happened.
Yes, true.
in the club, and that's
A little awkward though, don't you think?
yeah, because of the fighting style.
The fighting style and plus the
Well, just
there
the way,
was some-
That was his
awkward
Michael
about
Mann
that.
shit. That was his Michael Mann kind of like
well,
influence.
the objection
Yeah.
isn't to
Miami
the,
Vice, Collateral.
I don't think the issue is the setting. It's more of just the way that Bale's Batman moves. It's like
Yeah,
all
it's-
these
yeah.
like he has
It was like Gun Kata all over again.
kind of where it's all elbows and he's just like big like long moments of him doing this when like
That's
other
like-
people can easily attack him.
that's
And
like
humor and
KC
fight scenes,
shit.
man. Nolan can't do it.
That's that KC whatever.
Casey fighting
yeah,
method.
KFM.
I
Don't put your money into that shit, guys.
I'm not a fan of it from
I'm not either.
from a cinematic viewpoint. Like
Yeah.
Affleck's fight in the warehouse was so much better than
Oh
any
my
of the
god,
fight
that's
scenes.
the
Yeah.
best Batman scene ever.
Yeah.
I think
In
of
fight
just
scenes, yeah,
Batman
yeah.
on screen. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even some of the ways that Keaton, yeah, he was weighted down by the suit, but they tried to make it work and gave him his own style of this staccato like fighting movement where
Right.
he
Mm-hmm.
would just stand there and they come at him and he just like bam and then he knocks them out. This one, it was just like it felt a little weird. I'm just like, you're supposed to be trained by the secret society of ninjas, and
That's the thing. It's too the approach was too well seen, even though it's like a kind of a there's strobes and it's
Yeah.
not well lit. Still, something about that scene is always awkward
yeah.
to me.
Also, he gets hit in the head at one point.
Oh, really?
Where he could have easily gotten away, and I'm just like, okay. Like, look, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I can fight better than that. I would probably get hit in the head too, but I'm not supposed to be fucking Batman, trained by the League of Shadows.
It's supposed to be Batman.
Right.
Yeah.
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 So he
Agreed.
does drag
on,
Maroni
Nolan.
out, and it does lead into one of my favorite bits where, Maroni's like, fall from this height, it won't kill me. And Batman's like, I'm counting on it. And he just drops him.
I love that. I love that shit.
I love that. I love that. In the
He would
theater.
not have recovered his temperament quite so quickly.
That too.
He would have been like,
Batman's like, shut up
been
and
in
tell me.
shock.
He's like, ah!
I'm trying to get clues out of you. He's
Also,
like,
he didn't kill the guy, but he definitely. It seemed like you could have caused some. You could have crippled him. It could have been.
Yeah.
He could have broken his
Permanent-
neck. Yeah.
Julia
permanent fucking
Roberts'
damage.
brother,
He has a name, Wolfie.
Maroni,
Maroni. Yes, Maroni Roberts.
Macaroni.
Macaroni Roberts can no longer walk thanks to Batman, at least not without the aid of a cane. But Batman did interrogate
well.
Maroni in a dark alleyway in Long Halloween. He just broke his wrist instead of his leg. But Maroni is always fucked whenever he's cornered by Batman in a dark alleyway, I guess. You
He keeps his cool though.
Yeah,
I do
but
respect that about him. He's always like, whatever. Who needs feet?
He should just know.
Yeah. I don't
should
want to hear
know-
you talk, and I don't want to stand up.
Gangsters never complain.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Gangsters never walk fast.
He should just know when he encounters Batman that he's gonna have a broken something by the end of it.
Here, just do it. Get it over with.
That'd be amazing.
I gotta get an espresso down the street with my grandmother.
A gangster with a limp actually does have more prestige.
Yes, though that gangster over lip could have also passed for. Not saying that he should have been in this,
He
but
should
the
have been
penguin.
there.
Penguin, I know.
Penguin gets
Yeah.
that backstory a
Wow.
lot.
Yeah.
But it does lead into a different interrogation scene where we're intercut with this, where Dent is interrogating the Joker henchman that he sort of kidnapped from that crime scene. Fun fact that that inmate Thomas Schiff is played by actor David Dastmalchian, who is not only in the Ant-Man movies as the Russian dude who's helping them out,
He's
but
coming up.
yeah, he also was in Gotham as a follower of Cameron Monaghan's Joker, so that was
cool.
kind of a reference to that. And he's playing the Polka Dot Man in the upcoming James Gunn Suicide Squad movie. So
Oh shit.
he is
all
over these comic book movies.
I
but this
like
is how
that guy.
makes stop.
He was something else in like a more serious film. He was like kind of like super creepy, like too creepy on screen. But now he's like found this niche in comic book films and
Yeah.
stuff. That's awesome.
I mean, he was perfect for this part.
Yeah.
And he had a whole talk with Kevin Smith on his podcast about how he was like super nervous at one point about like, you know, he's there with Aaron Eckhart and Christian Bale, and this is like
He's like, oh shit.
and he's like, this is one of the situations where he, it's one of those like, I can't afford the rent type of thing. I need this movie, and like
Right.
showing up with these. He's already got a scene with these big stars, and at one point he's trying to do his thing, and Christian Bale and Aaron Eckhart just start laughing, and he's just like, oh my god, like I'm so embarrassed, like they're laughing at me, and Christian Bale at one point turns to him and just like, it's not you, mate. Like when he flipped the coin, it fell on top of my head, and so that's why they were laughing. So they were. He was relieved to find that out.
That's funny.
But Dent, this is the first shades of Two-Face that we see because he's flipping the coin about whether or not to kill him. Now, of course, Dent knows, and if you think ahead and you're a comic fan, you probably know that it's two-headed anyway. So he knows that it's not going to land on Tails to lead him to shoot him, but he knows that Thomas Schiff doesn't know that. But this is not the first time that we've seen Harvey Dent sort of have shades of evil. Yeah.
Very clever.
Beforehand. We saw that in the animated series, of course, with Big Bad Harv in the Two-Face two-parter.
Love it.
Also, Eye of the Beholder, which was the comic book that I had mentioned last time with Andrew, where they kind of ripped a lot of the Long Halloween bits. Long Halloween ripped off a lot of the bits of Harvey's origin from the Eye of the Beholder. But in that, a serial killer named Rudy Klemper is around, and he gets off and he tempts Harvey Dent after the trial, telling him, like, hey, like, since the trial's over, I can tell you, yeah, I did actually kill those people, and I'm only able to do it because I have this other part of me who I allow to do it, and then once I'm done having my fun, then I go back to being regular Dr. Klemper. And, you know, I feel like there's some part of you that has that quality too. There's some part of you that has that darkness, and I want you to unlock it. And so he goes home and he thinks that he's completely... He showed Harvey Dent, you know, and Harvey apparently calls him, and he's like, I took your advice. And then the guy's house blows up, which indicates that Harvey might have killed him.
This Eye of the Beholder is like a mini series in the comics, or is one shot?
It's
or
one
what?
issue.
It's a one shot.
It's a one shot,
Okay.
yeah. And then later on, Maroni sends one of his thugs to kill Harvey, and kill Harvey and his wife. And Harvey encounters him, and Harvey beats the man to death.
Maroni?
So.
Or the killer.
Macaroni. No,
Macaroni.
Macaroni's man.
Cannoli.
Macaroni's thug.
Drop the gun, grab the cannoli.
And then Long Halloween has Dent making several jokes about, you know, why don't we just kill them type of thing, or 2 shots to the head couldn't happen to a nicer guy, those type of jokes. But it's sort of revealed at the end the possibility that he might have been the holiday killer during some point of time. So this idea of Dent being dark before the scarring has been there for a while.
That's cool.
And then Batman, of course, stops him and tells him that, no one will die because of me. And Aaron Eckhart just screams at him. But then Rachel goes to stay with Bruce Wayne. And this is where I rewatched this scene recently because we were talking about the whole Rachel Dawes thing. And to be honest, I do, after seeing more of both and having rewatched both movies, I'm in the minority here, but I do prefer the Katie Holmes Rachel Dawes over the Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Really?
Because of the fact that Holmes' Rachel Dawes was very much, she felt like her own crusading character to try to fight crime and everything. Gyllenhaal's Rachel just feels like she is the love interest to me. And there's a lot of times where it feels like she's joking, flirting around and stuff about, like, there's a part in the beginning where she's joking with Aaron Eckhart where it's just like, if they're not trying to kill you, then, like, you're not doing it right. But I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
I'd never see the Holmes Rachel Dawes say that. Like, it felt a little weird.
She's more...
Yeah, she's more serious than that. So it felt like a different
motivated.
character, but also one that was a little bit
sassed
less...
her up a little.
They sassed her up a bit, but I'm just like,
Secretary.
it feels less, not only true to the original version, but also kind of like less, almost realistic in a way.
And what was the issue? It was Tom Cruise?
Well, they claimed that it was a scheduling issue because Katie Holmes was going to be in the Queen Latifah movie, and I'm like, you would choose a Queen Latifah movie over The Dark Knight. I'm not really buying that, but there's no official say on like why that happened.
What was her name on Dawson's Creek?
Joey, I think.
I used to watch that show.
Yeah. Well, then you should know better than me. I don't know the show.
I never watched it.
But yeah, I mean, Rachel's very much just the woman who's caught between two men in this one, as opposed to the first one where she pretty much was the district attorney ally to Batman. So it just feels like they kind of downgraded her character a lot more in this one. And I understand it because Harvey's a more important character, but it does feel like she was sacrificed in that way. Harvey claims to be Batman in order to stop the Joker.
I'm Batman!
Oh, yeah. At the
At the press conference.
No more dead cops.
No more dead.
Yes, I remember that.
I gotta say, the extras in this movie could have used another take.
No more dead cops!
Used another
No
take.
more dead cops. Yeah, I remember that shit. And there's also,
brilliant.
strangely enough, this is some weird trivia, but you know the Guardian Angels?
Yeah.
They're like a civilian militia.
Whatever happened to them?
They're real.
Yeah.
They have, for some reason, some presence in this scene.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's a group of Guardian Angels there. Gotham's Guardian Angels.
Huh.
We used to have them in Denver.
I'd
Really?
have to check them
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to them? They don't got them
Jesus.
here?
They're probably here,
They
but
were
they're
beating
just,
up
their
too
numbers
many-
probably aren't that
They were
great.
just beating up too many homeless people.
Yeah. Making citizens arrests and shit like that, you know?
you stole something out of her box.
No more dead cops. There's also a part where the camera whips around and one extra is just having fun, but he's just like...
Ben is wobbling his head around.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry for the audio listeners. I forgot that it's audio only. But yeah, and I'm like, dude, why? So I only know that because some people made a GIF out of that.
No more dead cops.
Batman
really?
forums, and I was
Oh,
like,
the
wait
guy.
a minute. But yeah, could have used another take for some of those extras over there. But
No, this might have been shot by second unit because this is so off. This scene, so many factors are a little bit off.
it doesn't quite hit him. It feels like it should hit harder emotionally. That,
I'm
like,
Batman.
Yeah,
that Bruce
yeah.
is supposed to step in and claim himself, and then Harvey says it instead and steals it from him.
Right.
It feels like it doesn't quite play out as well as it should have.
Right.
But it does seem to be a reference to year one, where Harvey was a suspect. He was the number one suspect in terms of being Batman in Batman Year One. Gordon interrogated him first before he thought about Bruce Wayne. So it does seem to be a reference of that. Also, it's kind of foreshadowed in the movie when the ballet dancer does the whole, like, she covers up Aaron Eckhart's, the top of his face to expose his chin. And Eckhart does have a great Batman chin, so that does kind of work.
does.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, some people say that to find a good Harvey Dent, you have to find somebody who could play a good Batman, simply because
sure.
you got to play like the good
That's cool.
side and like the dark side type of thing. They're both
Nicholas
handsome
Holt
men.
playing Two-Face coming up.
Potentially.
That's the guy from
Yeah,
X-Men?
yeah, the Beast.
Yeah, I remember he was
Yeah.
up for the Batman.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Remember,
he
he
was
almost
the
got
runner
it.
up, but
Yeah.
Pattinson beat him out.
Yeah.
So
We all knew that was going to go
I still
that
going
way.
for Wes Bentley.
Yeah.
You sons of bitches.
Jake
he's a little
Gyllenhaal.
too old for the
Oh,
for
yeah,
the Batman.
I guess
but
that's
yeah,
supposed to-
no, I mean I agree with Wes Bentley. He could have been good too.
He's the Batman of my dreams.
My dreams.
So Harvey turns himself in. Rachel doesn't like it, gives the whole letter to Alfred type of thing, but then goes to see Harvey. They have their kiss, and Harvey gives the coin to Rachel. And that's when we get the reveal that the coin is double-headed.
Show the
The
camera.
whole, like, you make
It's got
your own
two
luck.
heads. See that?
Showed the camera. So that leads into this car chase. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about for this car chase. First off, the idea of using somebody as bait. Gordon and Batman draw out the Holiday Killer by using Maroni as bait in The Long Halloween. And it seems like they do a similar thing in The Dark Knight. And in both versions, there's somebody in disguise dressed up as a SWAT team member. So Batman was dressed up as a SWAT team member in that issue of Long Halloween. Gordon is disguised as a SWAT team member driving the truck in the movie. So that's where it comes from. The truck that Joker shows up in says on the side, "Slaughter is the best medicine." It puts
Love it.
The S.
the S
yeah.
on top of the laughter.
Yeah, that was.
Although
that
I
was
read
great.
it as slafter the first time. And I was like,
Laughter is the best medicine.
I guess that works.
I love this scene. I love this scene.
So it does seem like this is a reference to the Jokermobile.
it starts off with a fire truck on fire.
Yeah,
too.
that's his subtle
Oh, I
like,
love
yeah.
that.
joke.
Some 28
Yeah.
days later or some shit, some
Yeah.
apocalyptic imagery.
Yeah.
So this does seem to be the Heath Ledger version of the Jokermobile in it, or at least
He really
Yeah,
stirred
kinda.
things up.
and the Joker had his own Jokermobile in the comics that I don't think we've really seen. I mean, you could stretch and say the purple Lamborghini and Suicide Squad was his.
Wait,
was his
didn't-
Jokermobile,
Close.
Didn't the Joker get out of a car when he has that little machine gun and he's like right before the like, come hit me, I want you to hit me. I want
Well,
you
yeah,
to hit me.
he gets out of the truck.
Oh, that's right, it
it's
flips
the- yeah,
over.
Flips over, yeah.
Flip over,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's like
So,
the biggest moment in the movie. Never mind.
The Jokermobile in the comics is very different. It's almost his response to the Batmobile. It's got his face on it, as you can see over here. Sometimes it's purple, sometimes it's not. The '89 version didn't necessarily have a Jokermobile, but it did have all of his henchmen in purple cars with like green tops
And great jackets.
and great jackets too. Yeah,
You would know, you bought it.
Yeah. So, because we need more on our scoreboard, because we only have one thing so far.
What are we doing here, Ben?
Yeah, it's.
Also, I love that. Going back real quick,
Yeah.
the Joker's up in the ante with his gun choice because he's just fucking having fun with it.
yeah,
you know,
and they're
like-
just like,
and he
he's
finally
not gonna
gets
get through
the-
with that.
Yeah, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. That scene's so good, and also Nolan's filmmaking style. There's not like a billion cuts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like very long, smooth shots because he planned it out well.
Yeah.
You know, the action is very easy to read.
Those long violin notes.
Oh, the Hans Zimmer music.
Yeah.
We could talk a bit about the score here too, because Zimmer took a very different approach to the Joker music. Because in the '89 movie and the cartoons, it was always like a circus type. Yeah, it was always like a creepy circus music that kind of veers off, and they decided not to do that. Instead, kind of just go off of something that is almost out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Movies,
Yeah, so
not comics. On
Movies.
this.
Yeah. I agree.
there's no music in the comics.
Oh yeah. Oops.
Oh, but I hear ringing in my ears when I read them. What?
And so but yeah, back to this car chase scene. We have the Jokermobile. We have a comic book Jokermobile, and we have the movie Jokermobile. So, what do you prefer? The Slaughter is the best medicine truck, or something that's a little bit more comic booky?
Just hearing you say that, Slaughter is the best medicine truck.
Slaughter is the best medicine.
That's
truck.
the
Mobile.
official title of that automobile, and I love it.
What do you like, Andrew?
Oh. Again, it depends, but yeah, I'm gonna go with movie just because it's awesome.
I would have also gone with
Slafter.
a
I'm going with
clown face
Slafter-mobile.
painted on like an old Lincoln or something.
Yeah, I could have gone with
And
that
just
too.
like they only use it once and he like hits a guy with it or something. You're like, that's something he would have done in the comics.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah.
I think Suicide Squad, they should have made a full-on comics original like
Jokermobile.
Yeah, Jokermobile.
Yeah.
But for this, it's Heath Ledger Joker, man.
Right.
This was perfect. This is so good.
Yeah, I
think.
mean, I can't really see him in his own Jokermobile in this car chase scene. 'Cause
likes
you would
cheap
need him to
things.
have like the missile launcher and shit.
was it an ice cream truck or what was
No,
it?
it's
No,
just
it
a
was just
regular
like
truck.
a
Okay.
food, like a refrigeration
Oh,
truck or whatever.
Yeah.
Although
okay.
it had a side sliding door. I don't know.
It was
Right.
modded out.
So
Slafter.
that one goes to the movie. Yeah.
Slafter it
I think
is.
We all agree that the movie
You,
one works.
you like comic Jokermobile?
I like the comic Jokermobile, but I can't see how that would have worked in this movie.
Imagine Ledger Joker driving that.
Plot-wise. Yeah, plot
That would be weird.
Well, also, a lot of him, yes, the Slaughter is the best medicine thing kind of stands out, but you can kind of see it, like, weirdly passing people by, you know, and people not noticing, as opposed to, like, oh, I got my face on, I got my face on top of the bench of the car, and no one notices. Like, yeah, right.
Right.
On there, so.
It's like his exact makeup.
yeah, exactly.
Not the Joker.
Like, you wouldn't see a known criminal put his face on top of the thing. I mean, I get, like, in the comics, yeah, he does that, but still. So, that one goes to the movie. Let's see. As I said before, the main thing that detracts from this car chase for me is the fact that the guy who's in the front of the car with Gordon has these Michael Bay-esque comments the whole time. where
Oh,
it's just,
yes,
I didn't
yes.
sign up for this. And, like,
Yes.
that's
This
not
ain't
good.
good.
I'm like, this is a cameo of Nicky Katt, who is an actor in Insomnia for Nolan and in a bunch of TV stuff. And I'm glad that he's in the movie, but I'm also like, Did you have to have those lines? Did you have
Nolan
to give
and
this?
Gloria loved this because remember in Batman Begins, they're like the cops are always like, he's driving a black tank.
Yeah.
You know, it's like every time there's a chase, like automobile scene,
There's some cheesiness.
he
to
does
it.
that.
It
He
takes
does
this-
that.
Yeah, like it's a different type of thing. Also, I gotta say, Batman totally kills people in this sequence. He flattens. There's like 2 trucks. So there's the Slaughter's the Best Medicine truck, and then there's another truck that comes by, and then the Tumbler makes its entrance by pretty much crashing into it, so the top of it flattens on top of the ceiling of the tunnel, flattening whoever the driver is before it goes. And I'm like, that guy's totally
I
dead.
didn't kill that guy. The Batmobile killed that guy. I mean,
Batmobile was on auto drive.
Yeah. So I'm just like, this kind of contradicts the. I mean, you didn't even need to have that part for me to even question it, and it was. I mean, it was obviously way worse than Batman versus Superman's car chase.
oops.
But I do want to bring up
that was bad. Yeah.
My
does
bad.
totally kill somebody.
That
in
guy's
this
not
thing.
dead.
And it's kind of hard to believe. Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe that
I saw him
he
get up.
didn't kill anybody off of that.
If he died, that's his own. He was sick.
Well, that was Zack Snyder's justification for. What are you drawing over there?
He's showing a fucking Joker.
Okay. That was Zack Snyder's justification for Batman vs. Superman, where he's just like, my Batman didn't really kill. It was kind of just like, if he's shooting a gun and somebody happens to be in the way, then that guy's dead. And I'm like, that's killing people. Like, why would he be shooting in the first place?
Right.
Oh, well. But this sequence also presents the origin of this version of the Batcycle called the Bat Pod.
Oh yeah.
The Tumbler gets blasted by the Joker, and some people say that the alarm that goes off is like the Bat phone in the 60s show,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I've checked both sounds and it's not the same. It would have been a cool reference. It would have been more subtle, I think,
Yeah,
than some of the other 1966 stuff. Like that was the type of Easter egg that would go for the 66 movie, just like the Joker mask in the beginning at the bank robbery being like Romero's. That would make sense, but it didn't happen. So in this one, the Bat Pod is the Nolan-verse version of the Batcycle. The reason why the wheels are so huge is that, or why it's called the Bat Pod in the first place, is that it's an escape pod from out of the Tumbler. It wasn't
I never even
established-
thought about why it had pod in the name.
Yeah,
It makes sense now.
as opposed to cycle.
I thought it was
Yeah.
a smart bike.
It is kind of smart, I guess.
It
in
seems
its
like it'd
own
be
way.
fun to ride because it would be like the wheel's so wide, it's
Apparently
stable
only,
as
like,
fuck.
Yeah,
2 people can drive it.
yeah. Apparently, I've
You know,
heard
like,
too
there's
that.
only a couple stuntmen or whoever developers who can actually like drive.
Yeah,
it and
turning
maneuver
must be
it.
really tough on
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But yeah, this is definitely the pod. This is the pod. This is the Bat Pod. This is Batcycle version.
That shit he did-
This is the Nolan-verse version of the Batcycle.
That shit he did on the wall. I used to do that with my action figure all the time.
Oh yeah,
Some people hate that, but I
was
thought it
like-
was cool.
yeah. People cheered in my theater for that.
Yeah,
part.
I thought
yeah.
it was pretty cool.
Yeah. But the first time we saw a Batcycle in the comics was not actually with Batman. It was with Batwoman. Batwoman debuted with the Batcycle. But
Batgirl.
No, Batwoman.
Oh, Batwoman
The Kathy
did.
Kane. Yeah,
Oh, shit.
from our deep dive into the mystery of the Batwoman.
I remember that.
She first appeared riding the Batcycle, and Batman's like, "You ripped me off." Also, that's a really cool idea. And then he had the Batcycle in the 1960s show ever since.
Right.
But it's always kind of before the Bat Pod. It was always kind of some version of a motorcycle with a little bit of a bat insignia on it, and then that was it. But obviously they took funny enough, they took something that seemed really realistic looking in the comics and they made it a little bit more outlandish, which is a little bit different from what they usually do. But this is a Bat Pod, as I'm showing it on the video, the cover. This became a poster in the movie, but I kind of like how in this poster it's almost like he's a knight on top of a horse,
Oh, that's
that
cool.
type of thing. That's
Dark
the way that
Knight.
I read it. He might be a dark
That's good.
knight on
That's
top of
good.
that.
I never thought about that.
But that could be why they went with something that looked like that. He's literally a Dark Knight on horseback, kind of thing, on a modern day horse. But what version
I'm in.
do you prefer? Do you prefer the Bat Pod with the huge wheels and the guns in the front, or do you prefer the sleeker Batcycle in the comics?
I really dig the approach to the vehicles in the Nolan series, even though this one seems like they all kind of seem pretty impractical, honestly.
Yes.
But I like how there is the idea that these vehicles, as cumbersome as they may look or whatever, are still like kind of an extension of his body and his ability. Like with the way that he sits on the bat pod and he holds it, it's kind of like a full body machine. And you see him climb up the wall and everything like that. So I like these. I think they work. What was the question?
Bat pod versus Batcycle.
Oh, I like both. I could go either way. I love in the comics when he has just like a motorcycle, and then earlier in this film he just has like a regular motorcycle.
Yeah, when he's investigating
with the
day.
new Battinson pics we've seen, they have that exaggerated version of something that's mixed of the two. It's got a bat face or something like that,
which I really like. Yeah,
I think it's cool. Yeah, I like. I mean, one of my favorite parts about loving Batman so much is how the vehicles change and being able to have an opinion on such wild different designs and shit.
Rank them.
So
we're
choose
definitely
one. Choose one.
I'll go Batpod.
Okay.
Or some iteration.
We're definitely going to do a ranking type of section at some point in terms of like which version of Batmobile do you like, which Gotham do you like, something like that.
Oh yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good.
Ooh.
I love the idea of a vehicle being destroyed and he's got this backup plan.
Plan B for my plan B.
Man, I like the Batpod a lot, but I might go Batcycle because it's just a little bit more sleek.
Yeah.
And I think sleekness and being able to weave in and out of a situation. Well, he does it with this too, but there's something about a motorcycle that kind of ties in with the art of escape to me, especially if he were to throw like some really big smoke bombs and then he's out of there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's cool. So I might have to go comics on this one, but I like the Batpod as well.
So
I'm going to go for the comics as well. I really like what I've seen of the Battinson Batcycle. And I like the sleeker look myself. I like the idea of it being a little bit, seeming like it could fit in a little better with the surroundings. It seemed like if Batman was on the run on the Batpod, it was kind of really easy to figure out where he was on that thing because of how huge it is.
The huge guns, too. I mean, it's kind of a striking image, but it's just like... What's the deal with adding humongous guns? I know he's got to break through walls.
But
still, man.
Ever since Tim Burton's Batmobile, there's always been guns in the vehicles, and I'm like, this is sending the wrong message if you're trying to do the whole like he has no kill rule.
Something more like electricity based or tripwire,
some sort of taser thing or whatever. Like I get that he's got to crash through shit, but
we should look into these.
Yeah, we should probably not just do some gun stuff. But whatever, they did that. But Batman does commit a significant amount of property damage on the way over, which, to be fair, it's
what
not
does
like
he think
he's never,
he is, underdog?
It's not like he's never done that before in the comics.
Right.
It says in the comic, The Colt, he says, quote, "Unlike the army, I'm not afraid to cause a little property damage." That says
they'll never catch me.
He does blow up a bunch of parked cars without knowing if there's anybody in them, though. There's the part where the kids are just doing and then he like blows up a bunch of cars in front of them. I'm just like, well, how did he know... like if people weren't
in heat scan, man, total heat scan in the bat visor.
Why does he blow them up in the first place if he's just gonna go past them? The whole point of the motorcycle is for him to weave through the
what were they thinking? Second unit,
yeah,
maybe.
Roger Corman directed.
Stunt scenes actually are usually.
Yeah.
Just blow it up.
And then the fact, so he does find a way to get to the Jokermobile or the slaughter truck. And then
the
Slafter truck, and he makes the Slafter truck flip over, which was actually done. That was no CG or anything.
That was incredible. I don't think I've ever seen that either.
Yeah,
it was like a totally new action sequence. So it was great.
They said they used a combination
hell of a sequence.
Cables, like cable pulleys, hydraulics, and explosives to like.
Something like that, yeah.
There are some miniatures in this sequence too, I think, but I could be wrong about that.
Heath Ledger was so in character, he stayed in the truck the whole time. No, he didn't.
I love it.
But he does come out, and we have the whole, like, come on, hit me scene.
Yeah, hit me. I want you to do
it. Which I always thought kind of ended a little hilariously, because Batman's just like, I won't, and then he just crashes and knocks himself out, and I'm like...
He should have done some Arkham shit on there, like jumped off of it while his emotion and glide down and... hit him.
Fought with the Joker, yeah. One of my favorites is the How It Should Have Ended series cartoon, where he just hits him with the bat pod, and then Superman's like, "Wait, you hit him?" And Batman's like, didn't kill him. They just catch the Joker in the hospital.
That's true, actually.
They're pretty.
That's true.
They're pretty on point most of the time. Those guys.
Exactly. But Batman lies unconscious because he knocked himself out from crashing. And one of the Joker's goons attempts to remove the mask, but he gets shocked.
Yeah, that was
in
cool.
the process, which
That
is
was
cool.
cool.
It's the opposite of what happened in '89 when the thugs were very close to removing the mask without any sort of built-in security device. But this might come from Batman Hush, actually, where a bunch of Batman ends up falling from a great height thanks to Hush, and after he falls, a bunch of thugs try to remove the mask, but this gas sort of sprays out from the mask that kind of knocks the guy out as sort of like a security precaution against anybody who tries to remove
It was also in the animated series too, right, or no?
If there was, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Maybe there wasn't. But he had like this didn't he have like a bandana?
Oh,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
Zorro
In the
bandana
in
under
Cape-
the cowl.
In the Cape and Cowl conspiracy, the guy's like, I want your cowl. And he's like, fine.
That's
And he takes off the
right.
cowl and he's got another mask underneath.
Yeah.
A plan B for his plan B. He takes that off. It's like a Groucho Marx fucking mask.
And then under that is
No
the
one-
Bob Kane domino mask.
No one will know my secret identity.
Under that is Guy Fawkes.
Wow, how does he do it?
And then, of course, we get the reveal that Gordon has been alive this whole time. And
We got you,
disguised
son of a
himself
bitch.
As the SWAT team member, and that's similar to the plot twist where Harvey Dent actually faked his death and was revealed to be still alive. And once again, like the whole, dressing yourself up as a SWAT team member to sort of trick people and lure people in, that's from The Long Halloween. So that is pretty much, we are at the point where Joker has been caught. I'd say that's a good point to cut out, but let's recap. Where are we at score-wise? Last time we were 4-4. Here, where are we
got
at now?
2-2.
So we're still tied.
6-6, baby.
Here's the thing. We like movies and comic books.
Wow.
So we are
It's our whole gosh dang raison d'etre.
Weird circumstances.
So we are still tied right now. You will have to listen to part 3 and potentially a part 4 if we get to that point.
You asked for it.
You asked
Where's
for
Dark
it.
Knight? Where's Dark Knight? Our mailbox was absolutely flooded, you guys, and we're delivering.
So we're giving you a shit ton of Dark Knight to make up for it, and we're just going to continue on from here because there's a lot of information and stuff to go, and we'll just continue from there. So,
Ben, I thank you for your Bat Tutelage once again.
you're welcome.
And
Thank you.
yeah, so catch us on the Flip Flop, and also catch us search for SuperHouse Podcast on all the social media. I'm Thunderwolf Drew on Twitter and Instagram, and the Patreon. Go there and join the Shasta Army. That's the $1 tier. And shout out to Cookie Noms, Matt Herring, Alicia, and who else am I forgetting? Wolfie.
I'm still here.
Okay, and what's your Wolfie Cruz?
Wolfie Gruz on Instagram. I don't have anything interesting to speak of other than being here. And speaking of interesting
Speaking
things.
of stuff, yes.
Stuff
Yeah.
and things.
Stuff, thanks.
Keep falling down to better learn to pick yourself back up.
Hey, that was a good save there, man.
Well said. Back to shout-outs to, as I said before, Mitch the One Soul, Johnny Lucian D, Maxim 1402, Rad and Subtract 1, Genius Billionaire Playboy, Daniel, is it Crozier or Crozier?
Dan Crozier.
Crozier.
The man, he's got a film on Amazon called the... Oh, I'm sorry, Dan. What does it called?
Good promotion.
I'll get back to you.
Not all of these are our personal
Dan
things, by the way.
Crozier.
We do have people that we've...
He's a Denver filmmaker,
internet.
and I'm sorry I'm blanking on the title of your movie. Sorry, dude. I'll get you back.
Yeah.
I'll post it in the comments.
Bender Crosby 1, Spidarian or Spiderian.
Spiderian.
The Animated Batman, DC Animated Universe, Figure Bender, and Braxis. Thank you for your support. And John K. Reagan, a.k.a. Shadowverse ENT, please check out his Instagram or Twitter at Shadowverse ENT to check out his Kickstarter for his upcoming movie, I'll Be Damned. You can
ahead.
check us out at Super. I was about to say ShatterHouse Pod at SuperHouse Pod on Instagram, as well as Twitter, as well as SuperHouse Podcast on Facebook. And please, in the words of Michael Keaton, I want you to do us a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about us and
Damn,
give
that's
us
good,
a
man.
good iTunes review as well. Check us out there, and let's talk about how they should record for us their little
Tee me up.
Yep.
So, yeah, on Android or iPhone, please, you have a voice recorder app already on there. You probably never used it, but it is part of, I know definitely for iPhone, and you can record your voice and say something like, I fucking love Superhouse, or you're now listening to Superhouse, or something like that. It can be anything as long as it's not fucking incriminating or illegal or something shit. But yes, feel free to be weird. Feel free to be crazy about it. But yeah, and then email that voice file to SuperHousePodcast@gmail.com, all one word. And you will be on the podcast. So yeah, join Superhouse in that way as well if you want. And I think that's going to do it.
That is going to do it.
Sorry, let me just say, look up Cafe Crash and Camp Crash from Dan Crozier.
On Amazon.
It's a web series. That one's not on Amazon. I'm still blanking on the name of his thing.
He's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. That's his web series he's getting going that he's been shooting. Check out Lucha Libre and Laughs. We got a show on YouTube as well. Of all the shenanigans with those wrestlers and comedians and shit.
Crozier is Crosier.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And he also does the Live in the Undead podcast for... I'm trying to pimp you out here, Dan. Live in the Undead podcast for the Colorado Festival of Horror at the Mutiny Cafe. So there's some Denver shit for all you Denver folks. Yo.
Nice.
We're getting good at this.
Yes. All right.
I'm remembering.
Once again, thank you for listening to Superhouse. We are the Dark Knight podcast you deserve and the one you need right now. And check out part 3 coming up. Same bat time, same bat channel. Check out.